Hello, we're back. In episode 25, I said we'd be talking about the Invader port to the Commodore VIC-20 written in 6502 assembly language. For the VIC-20 6502 assembly language version of Invader, I cross-developed it using a modern IDE on my Windows PC, like I did for the Commodore 64. It's called CBM PRG Studio, seen here. So here is my 6502 assembly code for Invader in CBM PRG Studio. Let's go ahead and run it in the VIC emulator by clicking on the Generate and Launch button up here. The first thing you'll notice, and I've mentioned this before, is that the turret, invader, and projectiles all move in large 8-pixel increments. The reason for this is that the VIC-20 does not have hardware sprites, and so you need to actually reprogram part of the character set to look like the necessary graphics for your game. I use this web-based editor to generate my custom characters. See, I have the characters 0 through 9, a colon, the alpha characters necessary to display the words score, lives, and game over, and my reprogrammed characters I needed for my game. It's also important to have an empty to erase your images as they move across the screen. Since they are not sprites, you have to erase the space behind them as you move them across the screen, or they'll leave a trail. You may also notice the awful sound effects. I mentioned this in episode 3. On the Commodore machines, you have to program sounds using an ADSR envelope, which stands for Attack, Decay, Sustain, and Release. Anyhow, I haven't spent much time working with sound, so the sound is not so great. Maybe later I'll dedicate some time to actually learning to create better sounds with this method. Okay, so here I'm going to show you Invader running on actual VIC-20 hardware. You can see the flashing screen here for the intro to BASIC, and you can also see that there's almost 30K of memory, which means that my game won't run in this configuration. It was programmed for an unexpanded VIC, which is 5K, but actual 3.5 usable K. That might be actually closer to 5K for an assembly language program. But anyhow, we're going to take a look. That noise that you hear in the background is my Prusa Mini Plus printing an egg for Easter. Anyhow, we're going to take a look. And so the first thing we have to do is we have to change our memory setting. Now, I got this wax bander cartridge, and what I can do is assist to it. Like so. And then I can actually set the memory configuration for unexpanded. And then we'll go ahead and load it. And here it comes. And I have an Atari joystick hooked up to the game port as well. And the cool thing is I'm using this little tiny SD drive that I bought from The Future Was 8-Bit. And we'll go ahead and run that now. And there we go. It's a little hard to play with one hand, but you get the idea. You can see that both the Invader and the
turret are moving on character boundaries on the screen. The reason for that is, again, that the VIC-20 does not have hardware sprites, so you actually have to reprogram part of the character set in order to get this to work. And so it's important that you reserve any characters that you still need to use. In other words, the digits 0 through 9 and the score and lives characters, as well as what I need to show game over. Okay, so there it is. And then I have it programmed so that the F1 key will restart the game.
CBM PRG Studio also allows Commodore programs to be written in BASIC. So I would normally program something in BASIC first, then methodically port it to assembly. But I was having so much trouble with Invader in BASIC on the VIC-20, I think it was all memory related, that I actually was able to get it working in assembly first, which is pretty ironic, as I had so much trouble trying to pick up assembly language programming back when it was relevant on these machines in the early 80s. This isn't quite finished, so I'll finish this in the future and show it in another episode. I think I've sorted out my memory issue. So that about wraps up episode 26 of my journey in game programming. Please like and subscribe and leave any comments or suggestions you may have that could make these a better experience. Next episode, I will be showing a port of Invader to the PC using the Godot Game Engine and IDE, written in Godot script, a very Python-like text-based language. So, until then, bye. I'll talk to you next time.